Hello and welcome to Gaga Knits. My name's Anita and this is where I like to share my love of knitting, sewing and crafting with you, and campodding. Yes, we have been away in our pod and I will put a little video on at the end just in case you're interested in that. Just a little video of where we went and a little bit of the pod. But firstly, I have some knitting, crochet and sewing to share with you. It is really hot in the UK at the moment, or at least in South Wales it is. So I'm standing up in my craft room trying to find a shady spot to record with you. I took my mum home earlier and it was so hot. It was 28 degrees, which is very hot for us. We're not used to it. So what better project to finish on such a hot, heat wavy day than these. I just put them on. My Marina Gloves by Susan Crawford. Finished in time for the hot weather, but I love them. They're made from Debonnaire yarn in Midnight and Magic, and they're all sparkly, and Debonnaire yarns were in Wonderwall this year as well. I saw them there, but I'd already spent all my money and I have lots of the yarn left. So here it is, caked up, and Jodie really likes it too, so I promised I'll make her a little pair of mitts, and then I think I'll also still have yarn left, and Jack likes it too, but it will have to be hand washed, but I might make him something because he's very knit worthy, because he does love homemade things. Now my next knitting project is so very nearly finished, but I have customized it slightly. So this is the Rosary Jumper and I'm knitting it in Drops Lima, just in black. I'm making the size 34, although my bust size is more 38, but it's quite blouson-y and I didn't want it too big. I finished the front and the back and I have already sewn them together, because I'm thinking I'm not going to put the sleeves on. I'm going to make it a tank top. I have blocked it and it does fit quite nicely. You can't really see the neck. It's quite a high neck, so I'm just thinking to do a couple of rows of rib and a couple on the sleeve, or not the sleeves, you know, the armholes. I have a dress that I made, a me-made dress, that I went wrong on the back because the fabric was really slippery. So it's got a very wonky, odd seam in the back. And I also have a shop bought dress that's a bit low in the front, and you can't, the way the bodice is designed, you can't really take it in. And I thought both of them have nice sleeves. So if I put this little top over them, I could show off the sleeves and the dress, but hide the cleavage and the dodgy back. So I would have finished that today, but my friends who've moved to Ireland, my friend rang and we had a chat, and then my mum arrived. She was having some bloods taken and I promised if she came over here I'd make her lunch. So I didn't get to finish it, but it's really hard work in black, even in the sun, trying to in the bright weather, trying to sew up the sides and things was quite hard going, but I've done it now. So I've just got to do the neckband and the sleeves. I keep saying the sleeves, the armholes, and that'll be a finished object next week. And I will then put it on with the dresses to show you what I mean. So I thought that was quite a good idea to do that. Oh, and it's knit in 3.25 millimeters and 4 millimeter needles. And a new project I've started, the cotton yarns that I bought to join in with the make-along, the dishcloth make-along, are being stretched quite far, because I've made a couple of dishcloths, I've made the strawberries for the pod, and now I'm making another project for the pod, and it's knitted bunting. So look at the needles I'm using. They're 4mm. I got them for Harry when I thought he might like to have a go at knitting. They're tiny, little teeny tiny ones, but they're perfect for this project because I'm knitting some bunting. Now this is a free pattern on Ravelry by Audrey Wilson Designs, and it's really easy to do. You just do a repeat on each end every 4 rows, and it makes a nice triangle. So I've done a few. I've done 4 so far, and I'm blocking them to be quite a nice triangle shape, and then I'm going to string them along the arched window inside the Campod, because we have 2 little light shades on, like reading lights on either side. I'm going to string them from one to the other just to add a bit of quirkiness and a bit of handmadeness to the pod. And it's the Drops Paris 100% cotton yarn. It's really nice actually, it's not too splitty. Yeah, there's not much more to say about that really. I quite like this setup. I've got my ironing board in front of me and I've laid everything out in a row so I can talk about each thing. So hopefully I won't go wrong. We are now moving on to crochet. The other day, my eldest grandson, Harry, messaged me and with a picture of a Minecraft Ender Dragon, a crochet one. So I messaged him back and said, you don't want me to make one of those, do you? And he said, can't you make one then? And I said, yes, if you really want one, I can. And he said, yes, please. So I looked on Ravelry and I couldn't find a pattern, but I found one on Etsy. But I'm afraid I've printed it off in black and white, so it's not very clear. And it's from Zhanna Dron. She's a Ukrainian designer. She's got quite a few patterns on Etsy. And I started off quite well. I'm not very good at crochet other than blankets and things, nothing too technical. And it was quite detailed, the instructions. And then she moved on to picture instructions as well, but I can't, it's not very clear. Again, she zoomed into the section, so you're not quite sure what part of the sort of piece that you're sort of working on. I just find it quite difficult. And the yarn she's used, although you can't tell, this is that sort of really thick chenille type yarn, and it's in black and blue, and then this is grey. So when she's showing you, explaining how to do things, and it's in black and blue, it's really hard to sort of see what she's explaining. But I've done the body and his snout. Oh, it's quite hard to, I don't know if dragon has a snout, but his nose anyway. And I've done one wing. Now the wings sort of go on like that. And then you have 2 little horns and then these funny little eyes. Well, I don't know where to get the eyes from. I have messaged the maker, but she hasn't got back to me. But I'll come up with something. I'll probably just use felt. So I'm using scrap yarn. This is DK and this is Aran, I think. This is acrylic, and this is what I made this basket out of, but I can't remember what it is. I don't always give all the information when I'm talking to you, but I always add it in the notes. So if you think, oh, she's forgotten to say that, or you're curious, it'll all be in the notes, hopefully. And you were meant to use a 4mm hook, which I have because it's meant to be this very chunky yarn, so a very tight fabric. But I noticed when I was getting everything ready for you, I'm keeping it all in this little tray. But I also had a 3.5mm hook in there, and I'm pretty sure I've done the body in the 4mm, but I did a wing the other evening because it was still light when I got home from work. I'm thinking I might have done that in the 3.5. And I'm thinking I'll make the second one with a 3.5 because that's quite a good error to make, because it makes the wing a little bit stiffer, seeing you're supposed to just sort of sew it on the side. So I think that's quite a good error because that's quite quite firm. So hopefully I'll get that finished soon, and he won't ask me for anything else. It was Pokemon before, and I had dragons and all sorts of things with that, and then he went off Pokemon and I'd made all these toys. But never mind, I like making for them. And for sewing, this is another project for Anne from Spa Knits or No Excuses Podcasts Make Along. So the NE Get Your Kit Off, and it is the Spring 2020 Craftpod project, which is Serene's spring embroidery. And I took this away in the pod to do, but I have done some of it when I've got home as well. So I'm still working on that. I'm quite enjoying it. You had to do a sort of basket weave for the pot, which I've not done before, and everything else is quite simple. Well, that was simple really when the instructions showed you how to do it. I've got to do lots of French knots now to put all the buds on those branches, and another basket weave there, and you just fill the kettle in black. So that's right, and you have to do something with the fan. The only thing is the instructions seem to be missing the instructions on, oh no, I've just found it right on the back. That's good then. I'll see how to do that, because I wasn't quite sure how to do that. I take it back. The instructions are complete. You have all the instructions to do everything. So this was really good. You had to put some interfacing on the back or stabilizer, and also they gave you some sort of fabric to go on the front that you could trace onto, and then it dissolved once you'd done the outlines. So that was quite good. So you didn't have to draw directly onto the paper, or onto the fabric. And I also have an acquisition this month. Obviously, if you've watched my Wonderful video, you will know I have lots of acquisitions, but this was earlier on in the month, and I have bought myself a sewing journal and project book. Because I was showing you my knitting journal and then I had a crochet journal, I thought, why not get a sewing journal as well? So now my journals are complete. I have one for each type of thing I like to do. This one is obviously more for dressmaking, but I still be able to put my little sewing projects like this in there, and a photo and everything, just the same. So that's my acquisition. Bought that off Amazon. And finally, my little trip away in the pod. We had such a nice time. We went to Whitemead Forest Park in Lydney, and it's very family orientated, but so pretty and set amongst the woods. It was lovely. It had a lovely indoor pool, nice and warm, and we played crazy golf, and we went for walks in the woods. It's surrounded by woods, and it was just a lovely 5 days. It rained the night before last, and it rained, wasn't the best weather to come home to. Not so bad for me, but Jodie and Matthew were camping because they came with us, with the boys. So they had to put the tent down in the rain, which was a bit of a shame, because when you get home you have to dry it all out, but you don't have to do that with the pod. So it was a wonderful first trip, and we are looking forward to our next one, which is at the end of this month. So I hope you enjoy the video of the pod, and I hope you enjoyed looking at all my crafts that I'm getting on with this month. Please let me know what you're working on, and I shall see you next time. Bye. 3, 2, 1.
Do you think Pumpy should get it?